It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Myriam Joire is here. Mark Milian from Bloomberg Business Week. And Nathan Olivarez-Giles from Wall Street Journal. We're going to talk about the week's tech news. Of course, the Sony hacking. Did North Korea really do it? I'm skeptical. We'll find out next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 489, recorded December 21st, 2014. Bobby had a nickel. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to audible.com/twit2. And don't forget to follow Audible on Twitter. User ID audible_com. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. And by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to Harry's.com. Get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code TWIT5 when you check out. And by Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it, right from your desk. To get this special offer, go to Stamps.com now, click the microphone, and enter TWIT. That's Stamps.com. Offer code TWIT. Time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the week's tech news in obsessive detail. Joining me now, I'm so happy to have from Bloomberg Business Week and their global coverage, Mark Milian. Great to have you back.
Always good to be here, especially right before Christmas time.
Yeah, this is our last show before Christmas.
Yeah, it's exciting.
On the longest night of the year, the shortest day. It's winter solstice today. I hope you enjoy it. Also, Nathan Olivarez-Giles from Wall Street Journal. Nice to have you, Nathan.
Thanks for having me on.
Can I call you Nate?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nate.
I like that.
Brought some wine. Oh, no, this is from Mark. Thank you, Mark. It's very nice.
You got it.
Look, by the way, he's manspreading.
He is.
On the
Francis
label.
Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford Coppola, the guy who invented manspreading.
Do we have to explain that for the viewers who might not know what that is?
Yeah, if you're just joining us, you'll understand later. And Tank Girl's here. Myriam Joire, great to see you once again.
Thanks
Welcome
for
back.
having me. Yep.
She's still looking for work.
Yeah,
boys.
I'm still looking for a full-time gig, but I did manage to squeeze something out of my hard-working days here. This thing called the Crowded Rocket. I don't know if you heard about it.
What's that?
It's a new crowdfunding platform that I helped launch. It's kind of crazy. It's a very soft launch. It's kind of like that scene in Star Wars where they're trying to restart the hyperdrive in the Millennium Falcon. It's exactly the sound that Crowded Rocket is making right now. Exactly. But the idea is to make a boutique site that only handpicks and vets and curates a few campaigns and holds their hands all the way along and then puts them together with VCs at the end if they're successful.
Neat.
So we'll see how it does. But, I'm obviously not putting all my eggs in one basket here. It's a bit of a side project, as it were.
Last time you were here, you talked about Flux, the 3D printer, which has since, let me go to Kickstarter.
It's graduated quite well.
Oh, yeah. $1.6 million. They were asking for $100,000. I'm not surprised. It's a pretty cool all-in-one 3D printer, laser engraver, 3D modeler, and auto pen. Actually, because you reach the stretch goals of $900,000, there's a pen holder module, there's a gyroscope, there's Wi-Fi. Wow. So we were talking before the show, and you pointed out this is hard because, especially when you're a big success like this, and I can think of a few examples on Kickstarter, the pressure's on now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you talk to the folks at Pebble, right? When they reached that insane amount, 10.3 million, they're like, oh crap! Like, what do we do now, right? Like, we have to find a way to make this happen for not 1,000 watches, but like 90-something thousand watches.
Wow.
And they sure did. But, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, I just got my InstaCube. Are you familiar with the InstaCube story on Kickstarter?
No, tell me about that. So we should mention, by the way, Myriam used to work for Pebble, so has some direct experience of that.
I worked at Pebble, and most importantly, I worked at Engadget for many years before that. So that's probably how you guys know me all.
Right.
But Instacube was this picture frame that shows your Instagram feed, and you can like stuff by tapping a button on top. And it's wireless, so you don't put it on a shelf or hang it on a wall. It lasts a really long time because it's not, it's got a big battery.
This was 2 years ago on.
So, it was epic. Like I pledged my $99 for it, and I finally just received it in the mail 2 days ago. And the thing about it is that it looked forever like they were going to completely fall flat on their faces. Like I had given up about a year and a half ago on these guys because they were so bad. Like it was such a disaster in terms of their communication with their backers but it just goes to show it's really challenging, and they did manage to pull through. So you just really never know. The thing I think you have to do with crowdfunding is if you think of it as you're making a donation to kind of help a bunch of people get started.
Kickstarter even says this.
Whether
we're not
you
a
get
store.
Something out of it or not is a completely different ballgame, right?
What's the dumbest thing, Mark Milian, you've ever crowdfunded? Have you fallen for this trap?
Oh, yeah. I got so frustrated with the experience. I did a number of features for about how terrible this. I mean, it's kind of a scam because these people with no experience in the field go out and raise a ton of money and then have no idea how to deliver. So the dumbest one was I spent $50 on this device that has a timer and is also a tea infuser. So it's that's a cool thing. I would buy it Walmart.
Yeah.
And that was 3 years ago, and the guy never made it. And finally, just a couple months ago, he agreed to refund everybody on Square Cash.
Wow. Yeah. That's gotta hurt.
I got my Pono player. I just got that. Still waiting for the Temperfect mug. A mug that holds coffee and tea at the perfect temperature.
These rings are blowing up. I noticed there was also a ring on that CrowdRocket website Myriam was talking about.
Right,
but
and the rings
the ringly
the gesture wing, that is, come on. That is weird.
Yeah, that's
that thing was
a little
bad.
silly. But the wearable sensors that'll light up when you get a text message or an email or something, that's those are gaining traction. Ringly is the big one.
Ringly's the big one?
Yeah.
So the one on CrowdRocket is like a mood ring. It just senses your emotions and gives you feedback so you can track how you're doing and change your behavior, hopefully to be happier. It's kind of an interesting idea. But you bring up a good point. You both do bring up a good point about crowdfunding, and that's kind of what my friends and I started CrowdRocket to do, right? Robert Scoble's on board, Yobi Benjamin, Julianne Blinn, a bunch of really hard hitters, because we believe that vetting and curating is the way to go. Because you can't. And especially if you eventually they need help from VCs to carry on, right? You can't just have potato salad. It's a lot of fun, but I think people expect a little more from crowdfunding as it's growing up.
Did you see which potato salad was a crowdfunded project?
Potato salad?
I'll make some really good potato salad.
And did he?
Yeah.
And
he raised thousands of dollars. I think.
Amazing.
This one I bid on, but I didn't get it. The Space Folk album. He was going to record an album on the moon. He needed $21 million, so my $1,000 pledge didn't really help much. In fact, they didn't end up funding.
It's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. What's the dumbest thing you ever crowdfunded, Nate? Or are you immune to this?
You know what? I actually don't buy into this kind of BS too often. Most of what I've funded are comic books on Kickstarter.
Yeah, you can't go wrong there.
I'm a big comic book fan. There's artists that I actually know and support. I did support Ouya. But
and you got one?
No, I actually didn't get my Ouya in, but it was kind of a mess.
Well, it turned out it wasn't very good, so who cares?
Well, yeah, I guess I really did miss out on that. But for the most part, I mean,
you never got it. You funded an Ouya and you never got one.
So when
They're
I went
selling
through
them now.
when I went through the process, maybe I did it wrong, or maybe Kickstarter got it wrong, or Amazon got it wrong, or something.
They want you to
but
think it's your
I was the
fault.
wrong tier, so I gave them enough to get the hardware, but because I didn't do the right tier to check the right box or something like that. I actually talked with Julie. She emailed me directly and was just like, no, you're not going to get a console. It was kind of a bummer, but
thanks for the money.
Yeah.
Appreciate that,
They got
Nate.
my money anyways.
Yeah.
And I did get my username, which I've never used because I've never actually played it on a Ouya. So,
all right, this is from the summer for anyone who missed it. Kickstarter Potato Salad by Zach Danger Brown.
It was insane.
In Columbus,
How come
Ohio.
Kickstarter let that happen?
About this project. Basically, I'm just making potato salad. I haven't decided what kind yet. 6,900 people
What? Wait a
contributed a total of
What?
$55,000.
I love it.
Salad.
I love
What?
it. Of a $10 goal. Of a $10 goal.
Funded.
I love that.
And he's not committed to do anything but make some potato salad and eat it?
Yeah.
Well, you can participate. If you pledge $3 or more, you receive a bite of potato salad, a photo of Zach Danger
Please,
Brown making the potato
Mail
salad,
me potato salad, please.
and a thank you note.
I love it.
But you know what? This is an example, Myriam, isn't it? Because now this guy's got to make a lot of potato salad.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
It
saying.
backfired on him.
But it's also
It
like a little
really
bit of
did.
like commentary, like just a little social commentary on where we're at right now. I mean, like it's absurd and it's stupid, as many of these projects are, and yet it got funny. It reminds me of the Cards Against Humanity guys on Black Friday. They pulled all their products and sold a piece of poop in a box for like $6.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They sold out of the poop in a box, and it was like more than $30,000 or something made.
I'm finally too old.
And they actually mailed people pieces of.
I knew there would come a time where I would just, as all people do, and generationally, get to a time where you just don't understand the world anymore.
Yeah.
And you move
jumped
into
the
a
shark,
home,
Leo.
and it's over.
You
and
jumped the shark, Leo. That's it.
it's over. I give up.
But seriously, did you watch the unboxing video of the
Piece of poop?
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Humanity?
I'll
They
put it in
cracked
the.
it open to see if there was something
you in
inside with their
rundown?
bare
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah, that was just dirty. That was just nasty. I can't.
Well, I'm
believe
not
that
going to
guy
show
did
that then. I don't want to show that video.
The guy
Well, it's
actually
dry poop.
He cracks it with his
good.
bare hands. Yeah. Bad news,
All right,
man.
it's
Bad
in the-
news.
If I Google poop unboxing, I'm going to probably find it, aren't I?
I think you should go Cards Against Humanity.
The rundown.
There might
But-
be other. No.
You found it.
Perez Hilton has it, but here's the unbox. And of course, where would it be but Dig?
Yeah. That's
And,
what Dig
and
is good
Perez
for.
Hilton.
Dig
Yeah.
is good. I'm not going to show this video. Don't show this video, Anthony.
Oh, come on.
We have standards. We have broadcast standards here. All right. Wait a minute. First, there's an ad, so we got to skip the ad.
Oh,
I instead of closing it, I clicked the ad.
Nice going.
Nice, smart person. Don't you know how YouTube works? No, I don't. I'm going to the home now. All right, here it is. This was sold for how much by Cards
I think
Against
it
Humanity?
was like $6, but they sold thousands of them.
Yeah, it was $8. I think it was. $8
Who would
plus
pay
shipping.
$8 for a piece of poop in a box?
At least they're being upfront about what you're buying, right?
They're
I mean,
calling it
unlike
bullshit.
so many of these Kickstarter products that never deliver on
Okay, we
their
could do
poop.
like 3 girls in a cup, except we're just going to react to poop in a box.
No.
It's not that terrifying.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
But how adorable is that
it's
little...
just-
Again,
talking.
I don't really understand how
The
YouTube
narrator's
works.
pretty funny,
Will he
actually.
do something eventually? Turn up the sound. Is my
Here's like a
that smiley little logo, like you can't be mad at that.
well? That's an emoji. He didn't even.
side.
Oh.
There's the box.
And look, it's sealed.
Bullshit.
It's
So-
sealed bullshit.
So Cards Against Humanity
It's
is
the
actually a very weird but good card game of like
It's kind of like apples to apples.
apples to apples with just
Bad words.
bad words.
It's fun. Lots of fun.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Somebody played it on our air once and I hit the roof, but then I realized it's okay.
It says
Box made in China.
Poop made in America. Where did they get this poop? Doesn't the FDA kind of have rules against mailing poop? Isn't there any? Well, the humanity.
You guys
First,
come
Craig
forward.
Ferguson is fired. Then this. I
don't know why I bought this.
thousands of people are saying that right now.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they didn't believe that it really was true.
Oh,
Wait,
Look, and with his bare hands. Why didn't someone like give
That's
him
pretty
some
gross.
napkins?
Because he
or
didn't
like
believe
a
it. Nobody all
rubber glove?
along believed that this would actually be poop in a box. It is.
poop.
I think this is the fastest the show has ever devolved.
Oh
I
God.
don't think we've talked about a real
I'm
story yet.
nauseous. Get stop. Go away. Go away.
He
No.
breaks it in half too. He does break it in half. I apologize for bringing that up, guys.
it's your fault, Nate.
The worst show ever. All my fault. Sorry, Leo.
Seems like there'd be rules against that,
You would think so.
but maybe not. And I think people bought it because they couldn't believe it.
Well, it was like a form of Black Friday protest. Like you buy so much, crap, poop, whatever. Anyways, that here they're actually going to sell it to you, and it was a big hit. I don't know.
Yep.
Okay, so I was a little worried because here we are. This time of year, usually there's no news at all. And we're talking about poop. I shouldn't have been worried.
Yeah.
Actually, the big Sony story continues to evolve, and we're talking about that. And I want to look, we got experts here. Speaking of poop, I am calling bull poop on this notion that this is a North Korean hack. But maybe Mark Milian knows better. All right, we're going to find out in just a bit. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about that. But first, a word from our sponsors. Nothing we sell is actually that bad, so I feel good about that.
That's a low bar.
Our show today brought to you by the good folks at Audible.com, the best place to get audio books. I know because I've been an Audible subscriber now since 2000, maybe 2001. I used to have a horrific commute, as many of you know, at least 2 hours a day. And it was just a nightmare until I realized, hey, I can actually get some reading done with audiobooks from Audible.com. Audible is fantastic. I want you to visit Audible.com and browse around. I could just show you. The Audible app, by the way, on Android and iOS, Windows Phone and Windows is just great. I'm using it on Android here, and I can even, just in case some of you say, oh, Leo, you don't really listen to Audible. This is my library on my device. I've got Tune In, The History of the Beatles. This is going to be amazing, 3-volume, like the best. Dracula, which is amazing, dramatized. Alan Cumming is in this. Tim Curry. This is the new Peter F. Hamilton. I love him. The Abyss Beyond Dreams. Love his stuff. David Byrne of the Talking Heads wrote a book that is perhaps one of the most interesting, insightful books I've ever read about music, how music works. He talks not only about the Talking Heads, but it's less of a memoir and more about why music is the way it is, why pop music is the way it is. Fascinating. Thinking Fast and Slow, that's about economics. Gone Girl, I still haven't seen the movie, so I'm going to read the novel and find out how it ends. This is a history of Manhattan, Dutch Manhattan, the island at the center of the world. So you can see I alternate fiction and nonfiction. I really like to do a little bit of both. This is just a sampling of, and these are all books I'm in the middle of right now. This is a bad habit. Audible.com. How about this? Scrum, the art of doing twice the work in half the time. Yeah, you've never done a scrum if you think that's true. Let's see. Neil Young's new book, Waging Heavy Peace. That's on my list to read. I love reading the rock and roll biographies. A lot of those now lately. Well, I want you to go to audible.com/twit2. You'll be signing up for the Platinum Plan. That's 2 books a month. As you can see, for me, that's barely enough. Probably be enough for most people. Your first month is free. Your first 2 books are free, and you get to keep them even if you cancel in the first 30 days and pay nothing. You'll also get the daily digest of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, audible.com/twit2. The best audiobooks read by the best readers ever. And now's the chance for you to try it. Amy Poehler reading her new memoir, Yes, Please. Audible.com/twit2. One of the things that I have a kind of an Audible Jones, and one of the things I kind of do by, as you can see, is I say, oh, I got to get that. Oh, I got to get that. Every month I get 2 more books. I love it. Audible.com/twit2. Why don't you join in the fun? Sony Pictures Entertainment. I heard a little agreement, Myriam, when I said so the President of the United States of America, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and unnamed federal authorities have told CNN, the Journal, I think, many reliable news sources, the New York Times, that probably Bloomberg Business Week, that they think it was North Korea. Meanwhile, everybody who knows anything about security is going, it can't be North Korea. Myriam, you agree with me? It seems improbable? Or are we just out of touch?
Seems fishy. I was at the VentureBeat holiday party earlier this week, and I was talking to a bunch of reporters there, and the consensus seems to be that it's potentially an inside job with somebody that was disgruntled with all the layoffs at Sony.
That's what it sounds like to me.
But you know that, now, of course, maybe our government is trying to find an excuse to, put the hammer down on North Korea. I don't know.
See, that's my question. Why would the FBI, why would Obama, why would they lie? Why would they say it's North Korea? The FBI says, we have evidence we're not telling you that confirms this. The New York Times reported that North Korea is centrally involved in the hack, citing unnamed U.S. officials. But as we all know, with these kinds of hacks, it's very difficult to know who did this stuff. The FBI is saying, well, we recognize the code from previous North Korea attacks. The code calls home to IP addresses that we've seen before from North Korea. And yet I feel like it just doesn't smell right.
Wait, they're allowed to have IP addresses in North Korea? I thought that was illegal.
Well, that's what's also interesting
By
is
the government. I thought the government forbid the internet. I'm just kidding.
all internet traffic to North Korea goes through China. Actually,
Right.
you're not far wrong, Myriam, because I was watching an interview with a fascinating interview. It was on the Daily Show, and I've got to see the documentary. A young woman who went to North Korea to teach English and lived there for a while, and she was there in a period of time in which she was teaching kids she knew kids from their technical school in North Korea, and they didn't have internet at the time. This was just a couple of years ago. They literally were being taught computer science without the internet. It didn't exist. I find this hard to believe, especially since this attack also looks kind of like a typical attack from a kind of amateurish hacker, right?
Yeah, I mean they've drawn parallels between this hack and previous ones. They use some of the same code, some of the same methods. There was a hack, I think it was last year, on some South Korean banks, which the FBI cited in their statement. This hack was well known. I'm not sure that we knew that it was North Korea behind it, but the FBI in their statement said last year's hack of the South Korean banks was by North Korea, and this looks very similar.
Right.
North Korea does have internet.
In fact, they have an elite core of hackers, supposedly.
They do. They have a government division that specializes in hacking, and North Korea also has a number of expats who don't reside in North Korea, but they still, carry out missions and hackings and all that on the government's behalf.
But from outside of North Korea.
Yeah, there's this famous activist in South Korea who escaped North Korea, and his thing is like to try to deliver. He delivers pamphlets by balloon into North Korea to try to educate the people there. So the idea is to send the balloons, and then they pop over North Korea, and the pamphlets fall down, and people read about information they would have never been able to get. North Korea had sent someone to South Korea to try to assassinate him. And so that was just one example of how North Korea is not just confined to North Korea.
Right.
We reported that the Sony breach, some of it was executed from a hotel in Thailand. So it's entirely possible that they had an operative in Thailand who was carrying some of this out.
I think it's always suspicious when I hear, knowing how hackers work, that something originated somewhere. It's very hard to really know where an attack originates from.
Yeah, technically, it's extremely difficult.
Because they bounce it through multiple servers.
Exactly.
And
use Tor.
A good hacker is going to obfuscate the... it shouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's coming from a hotel in Thailand. That seems... I don't know. I'm just some guy. I'm just a schlub. Of course, the FBI wouldn't lie to us, and the president wouldn't lie.
The FBI wouldn't lie to us. Yes.
If you rely solely on where the IP was coming from, then that's
foolish.
Not a good way to investigate. But they looked at a number. This hack used 6 components from previously known hacks. And the South Korean bank example was one where the FBI said, we knew this one was North Korea.
Right.
And a lot of the code looks the same. So, that's not damning evidence that the FBI claims they have more.
North Korea denies it, but they said, we're glad to help you investigate.
Yeah.
And supposedly China's helping, or, the U.S. is talking to China about maybe.
Well, they should, because all this traffic has to, if it's coming out of North Korea anyway, it has to go through China.
But this is all kind of, there have been a lot of criticisms over these methods, saying that they're very simplistic, that they're not very sophisticated, and that could kind of prove that North Korea isn't behind it. But at the same time, the fact that we have all these questions, the fact that there is so much debate over it, I think kind of says, hey, these people did know what they were doing. Even if their methods were simplistic, they were effective.
Right.
And now there's a
Certainly
question over who was, taking part or not, which, if you leave people with questions over who committed the crime, then you're kind of a good criminal in a way.
Yesterday, the Guardians of Peace, the hacker group that took credit for the Sony attack, mocked the FBI, saying, quote, the result of investigation by FBI is so excellent that you might have seen what we were doing with your own eye. The Guardians of Peace wrote in a statement posted on Pastebin. We congratulate you, success. FBI is the best in the world. You will find the gift for FBI at the following address. Enjoy. And it was a link to a YouTube video titled, You're an Idiot. On the other hand, if it is North Korea, that would be a reasonable way to kind of hide their involvement. I don't know what to believe on this, but both the FBI and the president both say, no, there's no question. It's North Korea and North Korea alone. It just doesn't smell right to me.
I mean, we don't entirely know who to believe. There's reasons why, you know, the North Korean government, why our government, why all these folks might not give us the truth or might not have all the details.
I think it's hysterical when they say, as some American officials have said, this is the first example of true cyber warfare. This is the beginning of the end. And, of course, we've been pursuing cyber warfare against countries all over the world for decades. So it isn't the first example of cyber warfare by any means.
Not to mention the fact that Sony's not a government agency; it's a company. It's a private
the president called this an act of cyber vandalism, not an act of.
I think
cyber
that's an important word to use, and some people call it terrorism. I think vandalism is more appropriate than terrorism, isn't it?
Yeah, because this country has declared a war on terror. So,
right,
if it were an act of terrorism, then you could make the conclusion that we should go to war with them.
President says we'll pursue a proportional and appropriate response. What would be a proportionate response to an act of cyber vandalism? We go spray paint. I don't know what I mean. What would be a proportionate response? Economic sanctions? There is an economic hardship to this. Sony spent $40 million, and Seth Rogen and James Franco, for whatever you think of the interview, and it didn't look like a very good movie.
Looked pretty terrible.
They spent a lot. They spent considerable amount of time, effort.
The only problem is North Korea is already under some of the most strict economic sanctions that we have on any country.
How can you get any worse? Yeah,
exactly. So it's hard to how do you really get back to them if you plan to do that? My biggest concern, honestly, with the whole fiasco, because really the word fiasco, I think
that's the right word,
represents the best, is the fact that the movie theaters kind of strong-armed Sony into letting them not, show the movie. If Sony was smart right now, they would put this all over the internet for free everywhere, and just that you can't stop that, and then it's there, and it's they lose on it, but they lose on it now,
right?
Or even smarter, they hang on to it. In 10-15 years they release it as a limited edition and make a shit ton of money.
They'll do that for sure, don't you think?
So one of the reasons they didn't want to release it right away, I worked on a story with one of our reporters in Hollywood, is every major movie has insurance coverage. And if the movie never comes out, then they have a claim to collect their insurance money. If they were to release it on streaming, then it becomes a little fuzzier, and they may not be able to make some of their money back.
This just came in this morning from the New York Post. Not the greatest source in the world. Sony plans to release the interview on Crackle, which is its internet movie channel, for free. First of all, I understand why exhibitors might be reluctant to show this after the... Okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff to say. First of all, the hackers didn't mention the interview until the media speculated wildly, maybe this is North Korea punishing Sony or trying to stop the interview. And then all of a sudden the hacker said, oh, yeah, that's what this is about, the interview. Oh, yeah, that's it. And then the exhibit, and then they said, we're gonna. I mean, this feels like they're making this up as they go along. We're gonna a 9/11 style attack on movie theaters if they show this movie. Yeah, that's it. And then the movie exhibitors, I think reasonably, because it's not. Look, you got The Hobbit. Who needs to show this? They reasonably said that's fine. We'll take that theater. We'll put another Hobbit showing in there. We'll make more money anyway. They decided not to show it, and then Sony says,
"Well, we're." Huh? Is The Hobbit a Sony movie?
No, I'm not talking about Sony, the exhibitor. The exhibitor doesn't care. Gotcha. We don't have to run this stupid movie. We didn't want to anyway. We got Annie. That's a saying. so I think the exhibitors just, caved. And then Sony, what are they going to do if nobody's going to distribute it? So I think, but on the other hand, the president said, wait a minute, that's appeasement. That's caving to terrorists. I don't know. What were they going to do? Put National Guard in the movie theaters? And then I'll go see that movie. Oh, there's armed. Oh, it's safe there, though, because there's armed guys guarding the door. Anyway, according to the Post, they're going to put it on Crackle.
And where can you get Crackle? Does anyone actually use
I
Crackle?
have Crackle. No, it's on Apple TV.
Okay.
It's on Roku. It's on a lot of the internet things, and there probably is a Crackle website.
You'd think.
Now, Mashable's saying maybe not.
Yeah, Mashable. Somebody posted this in the chat room. I guess a lawyer from Sony was on Meet the Press yesterday and said they're not putting it on Crackle.
No.
I mean, I think there's some genuine fears
or they
on
don't know
Sony's
where it'll be
part
distributed.
that this isn't totally over yet. I mean, supposedly the hackers, if they are the hackers, actually said that there's more information to release, that they haven't, given away all their cards yet. And, if they can take down Sony's entire, system like this, maybe they could go after people personally. So I think there's some fears there on Sony's part that this isn't over yet. So I don't know. I would be dubious of reports saying that they're going to, release it on Crackle or PlayStation Video or just put it up on a torrent site or something like that.
Sony's lawyer, David Boies, is the guy who's been strong-arming people about this, trying to get the contents of the Sony hack taken off of websites. Don't publish this. Cease and desist letters, everything. He was on Meet the Press.
Telling news publications that they can't write about this because it's
write
stolen
about
material.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Nice try.
Ridiculous.
Boies says it will be distributed. How it's going to be distributed, I don't think anybody knows quite yet, but it is going to be distributed. When asked about President Obama's remarks that Sony had made a mistake by pulling the film, he said, I think it was helpful to have the president recognize publicly that this was an unacceptable attack, that we cannot have state-sponsored attacks that are designed to censor what we do here in this country. But he
didn't address the
question. Because he's a smart lawyer. He knows how to deflect. Miriam, you're with me though, right? There's something going on. This is
It's something fishy, and the movie's already out on the torrents. If you search for it, it's there. So
have you seen it yet?
I haven't had a chance to download and watch it yet.
I'm kind of with the people who say it's not completely kosher to look at the stuff that was stolen. Where do you guys? What's the journal?
You're talking about as journalists?
Yeah, I mean, some of it, of course, it's. I think there's a public need to know when you find out that the Sony folks, try to get the Mississippi Attorney General to shut down Google.
Yeah.
That's of genuine public interest. I don't think there's any public interest in knowing what Amy Lucas said about Angelina Jolie in an email.
I mean, I would actually totally disagree. I think there's a ton of public interest in the way that Sony does business, in the way that they make decisions on what films get financed and what, stars get put in what films. And even things, some of the stuff that was leaked in these emails was, male and female executives doing the exact same jobs had a pay disparity of like $1 million or $2 million.
There's some stuff there too, and the harassment that's been covered up, things like that.
Yeah. So
there's Project Goliath.
The anti-Google project.
Yeah. So there's all of these things, and I think as the
really,
press,
should we be telling people how much James Franco made on that movie? I think that feels like that's stolen material.
But that's part of the business of Hollywood too, right? I mean, we talk about how much a film was financed for. We talk about its box office, nationally and overseas. How much the main, the stars of the film get paid factors into these decisions. And if you're a business publication, the people who read your publication are going to want to know this
Sony investors.
Like Sony investors.
Okay, all right. I guess you're right.
I think the way to look at it, Leo, is like when all this stuff was leaked by WikiLeaks, right? Of course, we're not supposed to be looking at this stuff, but as journalists, it's important that we're there to find a story, and we have, we are allowed to investigate and uncover things that aren't right about both our governments and companies out there, and make opinions on culture and society and their behavior. And I think that So there I can see.
Well, we
how-
draw the line.
yeah,
For instance, we wouldn't release the social security numbers or the passwords, right? We draw a
Of
line.
course not.
some-
No. You
some
know,
place.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
ethics,
There needs to
right?
be a
There's-
public need to know, or a public.
Absolutely. There's a question of ethics and privacy here, but I'm saying that when it's kind of a grayer area when it's a higher level of execs and others. I mean, I'm not talking about social security numbers here and passwords. I'm talking about these emails, and I think that we learned a lot from the WikiLeaks stuff, and we're learning a lot right now from the Sony stuff, and some of it is bad, but some of it is good. And I think as journalists, we should be allowed to, you shouldn't be. I don't think we should necessarily. It's up to us to decide whether we feel it's ethical to do this, but I don't think we should be threatened legally.
No, I think
by-
Sony's wrong in
you know
doing
what I'm
that.
saying?
I
Yeah.
agree with you on that. But I do feel like that sometimes people are stretching that public need to know a little far in order to get a few more clicks.
The news value for WikiLeaks, I mean, there was some stuff in there of government atrocities and, wrongdoing.
You can't compare this to the Snowden leaks, to the Pentagon Papers. Those things were illegally obtained and absolutely in the public interest to reveal.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
there are things
question
within Sony that are as well. So
Well,
there
I
are
think
some
they made a
that
good
just
case
gossip.
that the
That's what I was
business
trying
stuff
to say.
for a business
There are things in
newspaper is
Sony that
relevant.
are, yeah.
But I mean, you can argue the news value, the societal value of TMZ or People Magazine. I mean, like you can always argue that something, sports as a whole. I'm a huge sports fan, but you can always make that argument. I
So
don't
if somebody
think it's
stole something from the 49ers back office and gave it to the Wall Street Journal, it would be appropriate for the Journal to publish that.
I think it depends on what it is and what the value. I mean, like the decisions that the Journal makes in terms of what we cover.
And we should
versus
say, I
what
know
other
Nate
folks
is
do.
not speaking for the
And
Wall Street Journal.
But any
I don't want to
newsroom,
get you in
but
trouble.
any newsroom,
Right.
That's a decision that newsroom has to make, right? So I think part of the issue too is, something that's stolen from the 49ers back office and given over to a news organization is different than something that hackers took and then published publicly on the internet anyways and put out in data dumps, and they've already published it. It's already out there in the public
Yeah, but I
domain.
don't think anybody would see it really if Mashable and the Journal and everybody didn't just write articles about it. That's where most people are going to read
Well,
it.
nowadays, what would happen is, some folks who are savvy could go and get it, and they'd put it on Reddit, or they'd put it on Twitter,
Yeah,
or they'd put it on their
probably
own
true.
blog. I mean, it would get
Although
out there
Reddit has
anyways.
been actually caving to the DMCA requests of Sony and pulled stuff down. Sony has gone to Reddit and said, that's copyright material.
And YouTube has too, right? There was
Yeah.
the death scene from the movie.
Is
where
that been pulled down now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un was killed.
saw that
and
earlier.
They pulled that down. So yeah, there are some circumstances where that happens.
Well, you think we'll ever learn what really happened here?
No.
It feels like Wag the Dog. It feels like this is...
I don't think we'll know.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't think it's a false flag operation, or somebody in the chat room said it's the Gulf of Tonkin all over again. We're just looking for an excuse to invade North Korea. I don't think we'd invade him over this.
I also find it hard to believe that there's anyone crazy enough that worked at Sony. Like, there's some speculation that it's an inside job. I don't think there's anybody crazy enough who would make 9/11
Right.
threats. And they
Hackers would just some teenage hacker in
I could see a
Georgia
teenage
would.
hacker doing that.
That's what I
can't
mean. This
see
is the
it being an
fingerprints
inside
of
job.
some amateurish teenage hacker group.
Well, we don't even know if the threats actually came from the same folks who executed the hack. I mean, we don't even
we
know
can't tell. We can't
if there's
prove it.
one Guardians
Right.
of Peace. We don't like all
It could
of
be
these
anonymous.
sorts of things.
Yeah. There are lots of articles, and I'm sure they're being taken down right and left. Wired. The evidence that North Korea hacked Sony is flimsy. And this is before, of course, the president of the FBI said, no, it is Korea.
hours before, I think.
Yeah, right before. And yet the arguments in this are not completely
Yeah, they haven't all been
false.
refuted.
Yeah.
But do you
I
think,
think
we, the public, really know all the details that the
We
government
don't.
has?
We don't. In fact, the FBI has said we're not going to reveal all the evidence we have.
Exactly. So, I mean, to come
Well,
out
that's
and
convenient.
make definitive claims at this point is maybe a tad
don't know.
premature. But taking a look at the information we have, there's lots of reason to think it could have been some amateurists, folks. Maybe it's not North Korea, but we just don't know.
Well,
all
if it's not,
speculation at this
then the FBI and the president shouldn't say it is. So I would think that I would hope they're responsible enough not to say no, it is, unless they really are sure that it is. They're not just looking at some, server logs somewhere.
Yeah, I think this is why several days before the FBI made their official announcement, various news agencies were citing, people who were close to the investigation, law enforcement, and government officials who were saying that they feel at this point they have enough evidence to say it's North Korea.
Right.
But it was still days before they were willing to actually put a public statement together, and Obama got behind it and was briefed. So, I mean, I don't think they just jumped to conclusions on this one.
Ars Technica has run a series of articles both praising and damning the code. That's pretty... State-sponsored or not, Sony Pictures malware bomb used slapdash code. But it did the job.
I think there's a story that a lot of people aren't talking about, and I think it's the story of how government and corporate interests right now obviously have lax security in some areas. And, like this is Sony, yeah, but what if next month is Universal, right? Or, well, I guess that's part of Sony.
Or Bank of America, or,
Exactly.
And all of those companies we just mentioned have been hacked at some point.
Well, that's the...
So to me, the takeaway is if you're in corporate security today, you really need to get your dish together, right? If you haven't already.
And if you're not, Sony has a job for you. They just posted Director of Vulnerability Management.
Just a tad late on that posting.
You'll be working out of beautiful McLean, Virginia. That's in Northern Virginia.
In D.C.
In D.C. They're a director of vulnerability management engineering to join the Global Information Security and Privacy Organization in Northern Virginia. You'll report to the senior director of security engineering and be part of the team responsible for establishing a unified enterprise security architecture to secure Sony's assets.
Could you imagine going into that job right now?
Would you want to?
How nuts it has to be.
Would you want to?
How crazy that has to be.
I think you might want to if you're a cowboy.
Yeah, if you just love...
I mean, see Clint Eastwood say, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of this.
That being said, if you can get their stuff turned around, you'd be like the savior of that.
So just so you know, you need to have 10 years experience in information security, 5 years experience in pen testing, a master's degree in computer science, experience developing and refining threat-informed defense in-depth security architecture. It's a little late, Sony. You really should have filled this position earlier.
Like in 2011 after the PSN hack on Sony.
And while it's pretty clear Sony didn't do much of a job securing itself, everybody gets hacked. You said it. Every bank, and presumably Sheldon Adelson's Sands Casino back-end operations were very, very well secure, but they got hacked in February by Iran.
So Sony did institute a bunch of new security protocols and new software on the back end after the 2011 hack.
Not enough, I guess.
Yeah, either not enough or they weren't keeping it updated.
Right.
Because McAfee and some of the other security companies have said if you ran some of our enterprise level software, it would have caught this.
Yeah.
We've seen, some of the software before. It's in our systems.
Yeah. Right. Even some of the malware. This is not unfamiliar to us. We would have, all they needed was a good antivirus. Maybe a little Norton.
Yeah, that's all. They should just tear down this job listing and just download some antivirus software. Yeah, totally.
And good. If you don't want to spend the money, Avast is okay. It's free. Use that.
Yeah.
AVG free.
AVG. It's great. All right, we're going to take a break. There's lots more to talk about, but I thank you, Sony, for keeping us entertained during this event, this holiday season.
Thank North Korea, too.
And thank you, North Korea. Norton 360. That's what they needed. Our show today brought to you by Gazelle. You need a new phone? You need a new tablet? You need a new computer? Gazelle is a great place to go to sell your old stuff, to get some cash to buy the new stuff. But they're also now selling certified pre-owned products. You might wonder, I know people always ask me, what happens to the stuff I sell to Gazelle? Gazelle resells some of it on eBay, but they now have a program on the site where you can buy certified equipment. So this is great if you've lost your phone, maybe you lost your iPhone 6 and you don't want to pay full freight to buy a new one. Go to Gazelle, Gazelle. They have 2 different conditions: certified like new, which is really like it just came out of the factory, or certified good, with some gentle signs of wear, but high quality. In every case, all the devices have been put through Gazelle's rigorous 30-point inspection to make sure they're fully functional. And, of course, they're backed by a 30-day risk-free return policy. So This is a great way to save a lot of money on an iPad. Look at an iPad mini with a Retina display, $249. iPhone 5S, $334. You can get iPhone 6s. And, of course, there's no contract on these. These are unlocked. Gazelle.com right now. Get paid in, when you sell your stuff, you get paid in cash, or you can get a PayPal credit or an Amazon gift certificate. They'll give you great prices on your old stuff. They've paid out nearly $175 million to over 1 million customers. Free shipping, fast processing. If you forget to wipe your data, they'll do it for you. They'll even buy broken iPhones and iPads. Gazelle, Gazelle.com to sell and now to buy. Gazelle.com. It's the best way to recycle. Find a great home for your old gadget. BBC does not like Apple too much. Apple does not like BBC too much. The BBC published a video accusing Apple of failing to protect its Chinese factory workers. Tim Cook says, "I am deeply offended." Wow. That's taken a little bit personal. BBC Panorama actually secretly filmed inside factories, and they went to Indonesia where these, as Apple called it, artisanal tin mines are operating, sometimes with children. Apple's response, Apple has publicly stated that tin from Indonesia ends up in our products, and some of that tin, well, yes, likely comes from illegal mines. Tens of thousands of artisanal miners are selling tin through many middlemen to the smelters who supply to component suppliers who sell to the world. This is a problem. That supply chain goes on and on and on, down, down, down. The government is not addressing the issue in Indonesia, and there's widespread corruption in the undeveloped supply chain. Our team visited the same parts of Indonesia visited by the BBC, and of course we're appalled by what's going on there too. But Apple has two choices. We could make sure all of our suppliers buy tin from smelters outside of Indonesia. This would be the easiest thing for us to do, but would certainly shield us from criticism, but it would be the lazy and cowardly path because it would do nothing to improve the situation for Indonesian workers or the environment. Since Apple consumes a tiny fraction of the tin mined there, we chose the second path to stay engaged and try to drive a collective solution. I guess that makes sense. That's the old, we'll fix it from within.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the approach that Apple and a lot of other companies.
I don't know what you're going to do. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, and by the way, we're all complicit in some regard here because we buy these products.
Buying this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that Apple's lawyer told the BBC was that they've been working with their suppliers to improve conditions for workers, and that they found about an average of 93% compliance with some of their guidelines, like a 60-hour work week and things like this. I mean, that still leaves a 7%, that isn't complying, right?
Here's workers falling asleep on the supply chain because they've been working 12 hours and more.
So what is the right approach? Is it to bail on all these folks who are treating their workers incorrectly and maybe, I don't know, spend more money manufacturing in different countries, getting stuff from different companies? I don't even know if there are any of these suppliers that are actually following all the rules. I mean, this is kind of an ongoing story that's been happening for years and years and years. This isn't anything new per se. So what is the right approach? Inside or outside? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of these companies, like you were talking about, the supply chain goes deeper and deeper and deeper. They don't have direct relationships.
They don't. They're not buying it from these.
Yeah, they might have Foxconn. Foxconn, you buy the tin. Foxconn buys the tin from a smelter. The smelter buys it from, some gang in the Congo.
So then how much influence would Apple have over tin smelters if they actually do buy a small percentage, as they say they do, and then they show up and there's all these middlemen in between? I mean,
I have to say, though, good on the BBC. This is good work they did with these hidden cameras, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But awesome.
But I mean, this is kind of how things work, all over the world. I mean, the LA Times just had a great series of stories on Mexican produce farms that were treating their employees improperly, making them having children work way over hours. And those fruits were going to like Whole Foods and Walmart. This is not just tech. This is not just Apple. This is like a global issue with the way that we do business as a whole.
I really feel like Tim Cook, I believe him when he says, no, I'm offended. We really are we're doing the best we can. We're going to continue to do what we can to make these conditions improve. We know they're not perfect, but we really care.
The reason I think he feels that way is because of what Nate just said. I mean, this is, he's worked really hard to try to improve it already. And it's always Apple that's targeted, but like, what about, Samsung and HTC and Xiaomi? And what about, Whole Foods? What about, the textiles we wear? Like, there is this stuff going on everywhere, and it's always, and I think that's kind of what he's probably feeling. Like, he's like, throwing his arms up in the air going, not again. Like, this is not just about us. This is about the entire consumer industry. We want the stuff so cheap that at this point it's really hard to get it manufactured in an ethical way, right?
Right.
I think the whole system needs to be reevaluated. We all also have to think about this every time we buy something. And that's where fair trade and all that stuff is really important.
And this is the other side of the coin of Apple's success. I mean, you become this brand, and a brand that is has a reputation of quality, brand that cares. Then you're going to be. I mean, of course, BBC could have attacked Samsung and everybody else because they're all getting the tin from the same place. But Apple, because of its success, is going to be taking the brunt of this. I think that's part of the gig. But I think they should fight back, and they're right to say, we're doing what we can, and we're going to continue to do what we can. And I think the BBC should continue to hold their feet to the fire, and everybody's feet, and really, most importantly, us as consumers.
Yeah, I mean, you could praise Apple for doing something. There are companies that do more. Intel and HP tend to have a track record for being more involved in their supply chains and going deeper into the supply chains and doing external audits, which Apple only recently started doing in the last
that's interesting.
Couple of years.
So you're in your experience, there are other companies that are working harder than Apple.
Yeah, Intel has a excellent reputation for environmental and social governance. Apple is still fairly high up there. One of the worst is Nintendo. According to a lot of these experts, they say Nintendo is buys from bad sources and doesn't seem to do anything to try to repair itself. Most companies just take a sort of close their eyes approach to it. And Nintendo has had a reputation for being one of the worst.
We need fair trade consumer electronics. Myriam, I think you need to start this.
Locally sourced.
Farm
to table.
Which farmer made my Samsung Galaxy Note? That's what I want to know.
After doing crowdfunding that's more boutique and more vetted and curated, I should do this. Okay, good.
You're ready. You're ready. Take it on.
And I'm starting side projects left, right, and center, so might as well, right?
I think you're having more fun this way, aren't you? I bet you are.
Well, I am, but at the same time, ultimately, at some point, I'm going to have to pay my bills. And have benefits and stuff, and so it's I'm still definitely looking for something fun that's full time. I'm sure there's something out there. It's just a matter of time. But until then, there's CES. Speaking of
my God,
electronics and consumerism.
Everybody's trying not to think. This is just around the corner. It's literally just a few weeks away.
But I mean, CES would be a great place to have some sort of dialogue or maybe some sort of committee where the major companies get together, and I mean the suppliers show up to CES too. I mean the white label manufacturers, the Pegatrons, the Foxcons. A lot of these deals that are made in the Las Vegas hotel room suites that journalists don't get to go to because they're running all over the convention center writing about some new Kickstarter project. So
and by the way, thanks to the chat room for finding this. Fairphone.com is a fair trade smartphone, which I have never heard of, and probably many haven't, in which they really pay attention to the supply chain and the manufacturing and recycling at the end.
I wonder who their manufacturer is.
Interesting. I wonder how much.
How good I wonder how good the phone is.
It's real middle of the range. It's Android 4.2 Jelly Bean, 16 gigs of storage.
A MediaTek processor.
QHD display.
It's a 4.3 inch.
This is not going to cut it.
Well, let me just see what it costs, because if it's inexpensive, okay, 310 euros. It's not cheap. It's more than a OnePlus One.
Less than an iPhone.
Yeah. Oh, everything's less than an iPhone.
And it's out of stock. Not true. Actually, some Galaxy handsets unlocked go for about $800-900, and the iPhone is about $700 unlocked. So
Really?
yeah,
All right. Sony, by the way, employees are now filing a lawsuit saying the company is at fault for the hack, and we want to be compensated. I think it's primarily former employees who really are getting screwed by this, because Sony is somewhat protecting current employees, but not.
Yep.
Jury finds that Apple is not liable for harming consumers and throws out this case, the iTunes DRM case, which has been going on since 2005, almost 10 years. Apple could have been on the hook for $350 million plus damages, as much as $1 billion. It was a class action lawsuit, and the jury delivered a unanimous verdict saying that iTunes 7, released in 2006, was a genuine improvement, not just released for copy protection or to be anti-competitive. And the judge said, "We thank the jury. Goodbye."
Yeah, I think the jurors deliberated for something like 2 or 3 hours in this case. So, like, wasn't even a question.
It's pretty quick.
yep.
However, of course, there will be an appeal, because these lawyers, they've been working on this 10 years. They don't know. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't have a job. So they might as well just keep this going for as long as you can.
And keep getting paid.
Keep getting paid, baby. Paydays are coming.
Yep.
Did you see Apple's new Christmas ad?
I love it.
Yes. It's great.
Did you see the Guardian's take on it?
I did not like the Guardians take
I
on
think
it at all.
the writer here, Hannah Jane Parkinson, was a little bit just peeved. Maybe a little cranky. Maybe a little Scrooge crept into her eggnog. What's not to love about this ad? This is a young woman going through grandma's stuff. Hannah says, "Wait a minute, she's not even dead and she's going through her stuff?"
She's not going through her stuff. She's going through records. Okay. She's going
All
through
right.
records.
Okay. And
which
finds
are clearly in like a living room or something like that, right?
finds a record that grandma made in the 40s while her husband was away at the war, and sings to her husband, "Our love is..." And then daughter takes her Apple product. By the way, this is a very low-key Apple presentation. You know, they didn't really... There's not a lot of Apple in this. And the daughter makes some music. She falls asleep with grandma on the couch. She plays the piano.
She's learning the song.
She's learning the song, and she's going to actually record a duet. So Christmas morning comes.
It's a tearjerker, in other words.
It's a tearjerker. In fact, there's literally tears being jerked. Here, grandma finds an iPhone with the cleaned up recording on it, pictures of her late husband, and her granddaughter starts to sing.
I just got chills. I don't know. Did you
While
guys just
she's
get
sitting
chills?
on... Yeah, I did, actually. And her daughter sits on the stairs and watches. And grandma just sheds a little tear. What's nice about this is very subtle Apple, right?
Yeah.
White headphones.
Especially since they've been going in the direction of just showing the products in every ad.
It was a nice little
There's no
Christmas
Jimmy
card.
Fallon or
I
Justin
kind of
Timberlake.
like. I
in this
kind of
one.
like the Fallon Timberlake ads.
The only one I like is the one with the where he imitates like a French restaurant owner. That one cracks me up. All the others I can't really get into.
Can't take
but
'em?
That
Okay.
stupid accent. I don't know.
Get you every time.
Which
Sounds just like Myriam.
Oh no, we cannot take our restaurant.
speak with a French accent like this. You always have to grunt when you do it, right? I don't know why, but apparently.
French.
I think it's a lovely ad. I think Apple has certainly courted this emotional appeal ad for the holidays, and I think it seems to be working really well for them. Apparently, the 6 and the 6 Plus are the most successful iPhones so far, and they're going to be making serious money this holiday season. So
Good.
it's working.
It's working. You know what else is working? My Harry's razor blades. Do you shave with Harry's? You ought to. Harry's was founded by a couple of folks who think that razor blades are too expensive. You know the old adage, you give away the razor and you make it up on the blades. Well, obviously, if you've seen the locked up razor blades at your local drugstore, you know that's because they're the most pricey things in the drugstore. As much as $4 a blade for that Gillette Fusion. for half as much, you can get a better blade because Harry's bought the factory. They actually found out the best razor blades are made by 2 German factories in Solingen, Germany. They bought one of them. They own the factory and make millions of blades. This way, they sell them direct to you. You get an incredible blade, but you also get the incredible price on the Harry's kit. I want you to take a look at the they have 2, the Truman and the Winston. I'm not sure what the naming is here.
Winston Churchill. And
and Harry S. Truman. I guess I don't know, but anyway, the Truman kit is $15. You get the handle, but actually these are gorgeous handles, 4 different colors, 3 blades. You get the travel cover, which is very useful. Put it right in your DOP kit there. And you get some of that great Harry's, either the shave gel or the shave cream. There's the travel cover. That's so great. These blades will never cut you. They are gorgeous. They're fabulous. And, of course, once you get the kit, $15, you're going to get the blades delivered. You get the subscription of the blades and the shave cream or the shave gel. They also, by the way, have a nice aftershave now you'll really like. Your beard is soft, feels good. It shaves so clean. You're going to love it. Engineered for high performance, these blades are the best in the business for half as much. If you take a look at the Winston, you can get it engraved with your name. It's beautiful. Really nice. $25. In each case, you're going to get $5 off when you use our offer code TWIT5 at harrys.com. If you don't get a Harry's for Christmas or Hanukkah this year, then you should just go to harrys.com and get it for yourself, darn it. Use the offer code TWIT5 and save $5 off. But you might want to wait till after you want to see what's in your stocking or the Christmas tree, because we know a lot of our Twit viewers got special Harry's Christmas gifts or Christmas kits this year. We were told quite a few of you picked them up. Harrys.com. Use the offer code TWIT5 to save $5. There's some guy in the chat that says, well, I got 10 razors for $1. Those must feel good when you shave with those. Those.
And they're probably made, in like most humane factories as well.
Yeah, they're made with tin from Indonesia. You are exploiting small children. We are coming to the year end, and so that means the year in search videos from Yahoo and Microsoft and, of course, Google.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams is the #1 search term. I'm not surprised, are you? #2, the World Cup, which was this summer. #3, Ebola. I wonder if it was just Ebola or how do I not get Ebola? How can I get Ebola? Who do I have to avoid to not get Ebola? MH370, the Malaysian Airlines flight, they still haven't found it, right?
No.
No?
No.
Wow. It's a big world. You realize that. You'd think, how can you lose a jumbo jet? But you can. It's a big world.
A lot of ocean.
ALS, remember the Ice Bucket Challenge? Whatever happened to that?
I think it ended when I did it.
Are we the
I think I was
last
the last. I think I killed it. I was the last guy, and everyone's like, "Not cool anymore." Yeah, we're just not gonna do that anymore.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no.
What have you done, Nate? What have you done?
You broke the Ice Bucket Challenge.
You broke the ALS challenge.
I broke the internet before Kim Kardashian. It's true. I was that guy.
And those things come and go so fast. Everybody, for like a month, everybody was dumping ice over their heads, and then nobody was. It was just over.
It's not too late. I mean, we could do it on this show if you want.
I thought if, then you wouldn't be the last either. Flappy Bird, talk about something that came and went. Flappy Bird is #6. Who searches for Flappy Bird? Where can I get Flappy Bird? I need Flappy Bird. What happened to Flappy Bird? #3, Conchita Wurst. We were talking about this on This Week in Google on Wednesday, and I got a lot of email from people in Germany. It means like whatever, or so what, right? Conchita Wurst, sort of? Wurst. And what is it? How would you translate it? We have some
Wurst
Germans in the audience.
Is a sausage.
No, it's not the. See, that's what I thought. I thought she was Conchita sausage. But no, it means so what, kind of, or.
First, it's also slang for so what.
Yes.
Slang for so what.
It is a sausage, but it's also slang for so what.
Kind of like Ike, like like
but it's
confident,
pronounced
cocky,
differently
like
than the
so what?
sausage.
Like,
then, I know what you're talking about, but it's pronounced differently than the sausage. I'm trying to remember how it's pronounced.
We have Germans here. They're talking in the language. They're saying. Say it again, really loud.
It's Wurst.
Huh?
Mir is
Wurst. Yes.
Mir ist Wurst. Wurst. Anyway.
She's got a great beard.
She's got a great beard and a beautiful voice, and won the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yep.
And I think it's pretty obvious why people are searching, like, what? ISIS, number 3. I hope it's not like searching for beheading videos. It's just ISIS. What is ISIS? Frozen, number 9. And we're not talking Ice Bucket Challenge. That's the Disney movie. And that's kind of feel bad. World Cup's number 2. Sochi was number 10.
Yeah.
Eee.
Winter
Ow.
Olympics is never as hot.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, though, you got to wonder, does Google take all the porn searches out of this list?
Yeah, and it's not, weather
Really?
and horoscopes probably up here, but this is top trending search.
Trending. I feel like they're maybe fixing it up a little bit.
Playing with the numbers.
Yeah, astrology. Yeah, you're probably like,
Well, yeah, they probably ignore the consistent hum of whether
Kim Kardashian,
Right.
Kim Kardashian's butt. Kim
those
Kardashian,
aren't really
Kim
trending.
Kardashian.
Those are just always
They're always there.
tidal waves of
They're not
searches.
trending.
Yeah.
Somebody someday is going to be honest, totally honest about the top 10 searches.
Do we want to know?
I know.
Do we really want to know? Do we really want to know?
I think we know.
It could be dangerous.
I think we know. Spain. So Spain passes a law saying Google News has to pay publishers a royalty whenever they have their headline or snippets or any part of the content from that publisher in Google News. Google says, but wait a minute, we make no money on Google News, so forget about it, and moves out. They say, we're not going to do Google News in Spain anymore. External traffic to Spanish news sites plummet, double-digit drop in the first day after Google dropped all Spanish sites from its Google News index. So what did the publishers do? Were they contrite? Did they say, oops, we made a mistake? Maybe we do need traffic from Google? No, they went back to the Spanish parliament and said, hey, can you pass a law that makes Google News do it? That make Google do it? So sad.
That worked out really well for them,
Yeah.
didn't it?
And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if then they pass a law in Spain that says Google has to link to our sites and you have to pay us. It's just extortion.
It just goes to show how the kind of traditional media just has no concept of reality when it comes to how significant companies like Google have become to the world, right?
They just don't get it.
They just take that stuff for granted and they don't realize,
it's a bunch of Rupert Murdochs.
They're only important. Yeah, they're only important because they, people keep them relevant by going to them through Google.
I love though that within 24 hours, it's just no, that's it.
Smack that.
Boom. Flickr responded. We complained, and a lot of people complained that Flickr was selling prints, your prints and my prints, if they were Creative Commons licensed, which Flickr allows you to do. They decided, maybe we shouldn't have done that, so they are going to not only kill the sales, but issue refunds, which is kind of a bummer if you bought some for Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like, well, you're not going to get those. And the truth is, I got to say, these were images that were licensed to be used exactly like that.
Well, some of the Creative Commons stuff says you can use it for non-commercial purposes.
But these were not. These were licensed for commercial use. People didn't understand that they had, because you go through Flickr, you go through the checkbox, and mine are non-commercial, so they didn't sell mine. Nobody can make money off of my pictures. But if you used the Creative Commons license that said commercial, allow adaptations of your work to be shared, allow commercial uses of your work, and then Flickr publishes them. You go, wait. Anyway, Flickr apparently realized that it was a worse hit to their reputation and not a big moneymaker. Although I can understand why they thought.
Not as bad as when Instagram changed their terms of service to, suggest that they own everyone's photography.
I think that had more to do with
oh god, that was so
caching
bad.
it. Obviously, people got upset.
Yeah, it was unlimited use, but if they wanted to argue that they did own the photography and the rights to sell it to whoever they wanted to, they had that language in there.
Yep.
Big hit piece in the New York Times a couple of days ago. What happened when Marissa Meyer tried to be Steve Jobs? Nicholas Carlson writing, saying...
Before you go there, though.
Huh?
I was going to say, before you go there, since we're on the topic of Instagram, have you guys seen the news about it being now worth 35 billion?
Yeah.
So, you know, despite that
It's a good purchase.
service change and their stumble that they did early on.
Well, you know why? They added 4 new filters. That is awesome.
I think it's
that
the
did it.
filters.
It's
the filters.
Have you seen the new filters? I mean,
No, they're
come
great.
on. They're great.
I love
did-
filters.
I did tweet an image before the show
From Instagram?
from it. Yeah, with the new filter. I mean, it is pretty great.
Well, let me just take a picture of Nathan here. Look good. There you go. All right, now I have these new ones. I could do slumber.
God, he's a good-looking guy, isn't he?
Oh, look at that.
He
Crema.
is. Look at him.
Yeah.
Tweet that.
Ludwig. I think you look
Tweet
good
that.
with Ludwig.
That's
don't
the one
you
I-
think?
yeah. Oh,
this is
man.
normal. This is Ludwig. Nice.
Definitely
Nice.
Ludwig.
Give him a Ludwig. Oh, you can give him a lot of Ludwig or a little Ludwig.
Just a little bit.
Just a little Ludwig?
Yeah, give him about like 3/4 Ludwig.
We need a little Ludwig right this very minute. All right. And I'm gonna Instagram that. And yes, Instagram is now. Oh, I gotta tag you. What's your Instagram handle?
NATEOG, Nate OG.
Nate Og.
Yeah, you got it.
By the way, look at that nice.
Ew, what is
This-
that?
Is that a 49er keyboard? Is that a 49er
no,
keyboard?
It's Christmas.
It's red and gold. There's no
Christmas.
green in there. That's red
No,
and
watch.
gold.
And when I
That's a
when I
49er
swipe,
keyboard.
it does little snow droplets.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Now I forgot. What's
right
your Instagram?
NATE.
NATEOG. NATEOG.
Yeah, Nate
Because you're
OG.
an original gangsta.
My last name is Olivarez-Giles
Oh
with the
yeah,
O and the G.
sure.
And you know, maybe I'm a little
you are a
gangster.
little
Maybe I'm a
OG.
little gangster. Yeah.
Is that a Swift key skin, by the way?
That's a new holiday SwiftKey skin everybody gets for free. All right, I've
love
tagged
the
you. I'm going to
SwiftKey
add to the photo map.
Tweet
Don't
it.
forget your social media down there. Oh.
Should I tweet it too? Oh, you see, you do that? You guys do that? You should send it out on the Twitter. Oh, I got to log in. Come on.
Wah, wah,
Wah,
wah.
wah, wah. And now, there you are.
Man.
Looking good with
gonna
that
put a link to
filter.
this on
That
Instagram.
gangster-
So you were
salmon
saying
shirt.
they are
gonna
now,
like
did
it.
they take more investment or are they now worth 30, what did you say, 33
They're
billion?
worth
This is an
35
investment bank
million.
that is valuing them.
Yeah.
But that was because, so Instagram bought them for 1 billion and everybody went crazy.
Yep. Which
1
now,
billion for
which
an
now
app?
seems like nothing considering the valuations that are being thrown around.
WhatsApp ended up being 22 billion.
Yeah.
1 billion, I think they got ripped off. I think Kevin should go back to Zuck and say, dude, you ripped me off, man. Anyway, 35 billion for Instagram. You know why? Because it has now 300 million active users each month. That's more than Twitter.
More than Twitter.
And I know why, because Twitter makes me sad.
Aw.
It makes me sad to
And
look at
it's-
Twitter, but Instagram always makes me happy.
Instagram makes you happy. Is it the puppies on Instagram that make you happy?
Well,
or?
I don't subscribe to a lot of puppy people, but I just, they're nice pictures on Instagram. Chris Michael, who was a founder of military.com, I mentioned this before, he's doing some great, black and white stuff.
Mark's dog has an Instagram account.
I know. I don't follow Zuck's dog.
No, Mark's dog.
Oh, wait a minute. A
My dog.
baby. Your dog?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your wait a minute. Now I have to follow your dog.
Yeah, you should.
What's his Instagram? Or she? He or she?
His name is Goron.
Goran?
GORONSF.
Is that
his
a
handle.
wrestler or something?
It's the mountain rock creatures from The Legend of Zelda.
It's a Nintendo reference. Yeah.
G-O-R-A. How do you like that
Oh.
keyboard?
ON.
Isn't that keyboard? O-N? Goron. Goron SF.
SF. There you
All
go.
right. I love that keyboard. It's so Christmassy. Oh, the
just
poor
like the
little puppy
picture.
only has 344 followers.
I know. Can we
Let's
Twitter
get him
this?
let's Twitter effect this. Look, do you want little puppy pictures? What the hell's wrong with him? Does he got weird stripes on him? What
No,
is
no,
this?
no. That's the
Is
sun.
he a
That's
zebra
modeled
puppy?
lighting. That's modeled lighting.
He's a zebra puppy. Oh, you see the problem with him? He's too dark. You can't see any features. You should have used
No,
a
you're
little of that
commenting that.
filter on there.
Oh yeah. Well, the new filters weren't
the new
out.
filter.
He sleeps a lot. It looks like.
Yeah, he's big into sleeping.
If only there was some
eating.
influential, show that could be broadcast over the internet and help
Goron
Goron get followers.
SF needs more followers. G-R-O-O. Like, think of Go Ron
Go Ron.
SF. Like, you know a guy named Ron and you want him to go. Whoa, he's a bat. Whoa. Is he really a... Wait a minute. You think he's a dog? That's not a dog.
It might be a pig.
He's a fruit bat.
And there may have been a pig and a bat mating at some point.
What kind of breed is that?
Terrible. That is terrible.
French bulldog.
That's a breed, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's French.
He's
Miriam
purebred?
knows.
Miriam knows all
Miriam?
about French bulldogs.
I know nothing about French bulldogs.
She is a French bulldog. What are you talking
Other than
about?
they're French.
Oh, now there's a good picture. He's even. Oh, look, they have motions now on Instagram.
Yeah, video. Yeah.
Sleeping with his eyes open.
Really? How do you know?
Look at him going back and forth. It's like a zombie dog.
Creepy.
All right. I don't know which is worse, poop in a box or Instagram begging. You could put... I'm just saying, collect Goran's poop. You never know when that's going to be useful.
Might sell it or bring
Mike
it.
can make some money on that.
Next year's Christmas present for you.
Heyo.
Hey, what? Oh, wow. I'm going to take the wine and go. What happened when Marissa Meyer tried to be Steve Jobs? This is kind of a hit piece, but there is a legitimate point that, especially after the last quarterly results, there is nothing really to be bullish about right now with Yahoo, right? It's not going. I'm rooting for Marissa Meyer. I really am.
I think a lot of people are.
I think it's maybe not. Maybe it's time to start, like what Nicholas quotes aggressive investors who suggest that maybe it's time for AOL and Yahoo to merge, or AOL should buy Yahoo.
That idea has been out there for so long. Does anyone genuinely think that's the answer?
So well with time.
Mergers.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Why would you saddle AOL with this?
That is a bad idea. It's just,
I think the theory is that they're both big content plays, right? So I don't know. Everybody does this. It's happened to me where people come to me and say, you're too small. You should merge with other content, then you'll be more valuable. It's like, why do I want to do that?
Well, you can sell your advertising to, in bulk. You have more.
In bulk. That's what I want to do. I want bulk advertising.
Well, you have more influence with the big advertisers.
Right. No, that's true.
And that's the argument for a combined Yahoo and AOL.
I mean, part of what Mayer's done is strip the company down, like streamline, like fewer products with more focus, right?
And this goes back to the question that's been going on, since what was her name? Bartz at Yahoo?
Carol Bartz,
maybe
yeah.
Before her is, what is Yahoo? Is it a media company or is it a technology company? Or is it an email service?
I don't think they have an answer to that.
Well, and we all thought that was Meyer's job, was to say, look, are you just going to be focused on content, or are you going to do what Google does, which is focus on platform?
I thought the hiring of Meyer was the decision by the board that we're going to be a technology company.
Right.
And
that's what she did.
Someone from Google, and then they've hired David Pogue and launched
Katie
all these
Couric.
new digital magazines that have not been effective.
Well,
there's some concerning anecdotes in here. You're right there where he's talking about it's like their version of stack ranking that Microsoft had for a while.
Bobby had a
Meyer
nickel?
instituted.
The Bobby had a nickel story?
And
No?
the Bobby had, oh man, that was, she read this children's book at an all hands meeting, and she,
Bobby had a nickel, all his very own. Should he buy some candy or an ice cream cone? She read this at an all hands meeting?
Yeah.
And at the end of it, everybody's like, what was
And
the
she
point?
showed the illustrations. Should he buy a bubble pipe or a boat of wood? What do you think, Mark? Should he buy a bubble pipe or a boat of wood? At the end of the book, Bobby decides to spend his nickel on a carousel ride. Meyer would later explain the book symbolized how much she valued her roving experiences thus far in Yahoo, but apparently few in the room seemed to understand the connection. By the time she closed the book,
the staff had gone completely silent.
URLs are what? What is that?
That sounds
that's their cafeteria.
Cafe.
It sounds so
completely
painfully
silent.
awkward. So awkward.
Oh my God, that sounds painful.
I think it's a great story, this read, and it really brings to light a whole bunch of issues. I think she's doing a good job overall, but it's not good enough, right? Obviously. I personally like that they've focused on mobile, and the products are better for it, I think. I'm a big Flickr person. I'm really happy there's a better Flickr app now for my mobile device. But the reality is that, there are many alternatives that are just as good. Like, what about, Google Photos or whatever it's called now, that's part of Google Plus, is, why would you use
You don't need Flickr.
Asking, why would you use Flickr?
Yeah,
right?
what is it that Yahoo offers that's unique?
I've been doing it for
well, they
a long
have this
time,
free unlimited photo backup, which is nice that Meyer instituted. But I've been using the Amazon one.
Yeah, Amazon
I find the
has
app to
that.
be better. Prime,
That's unlimited
they just
as well,
rolled out
isn't it?
Unlimited.
There's
photo
another-
backup.
There's a better app? Is it a better app? The Amazon
I think
photo
it's
app?
better than Flickr.
There's another company called Shoebox, which will do unlimited backup.
Dropbox will do it. OneDrive, Microsoft now, if you have an Office 365,
Yeah.
is giving unlimited storage. Not even like a terabyte. Although, what's the difference between a terabyte and unlimited, really? You don't have a terabyte. That's unlimited. Apparently, Tim Armstrong, who's also a Google alumnus, is actually considering a deal with Yahoo. Armstrong owns 5% of AOL, and he could stand to gain tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. So the problem is Yahoo's only real value comes from their stake in Alibaba, right? So all the activist investors are saying, well, if you separate that out, there's nothing there. It's a ghost town.
Yeah, they made the point in the story that if you cut out the value of Alibaba from Yahoo's valuation, the rest of Yahoo is worth minus $5 billion.
Ooh, that's not a good price tag.
It's a
Wait a
negative
minute, they'll
price
pay
tag.
me $5 billion to buy them?
Yeah,
I'll take
that's
it.
the argument.
The time Leo tried to be Steve Jobs.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then I want you to build this sapphire factory. It felt like a hit piece, and yet when I read it, it was like, wow, I can't, that doesn't sound good, actually. You don't work at CNN anymore.
I don't.
We can talk about this.
Is this going to be bad? I think
It's not
gonna
great.
Be bad.
It's not bad. CNN's list of 28 internet acronyms every parent should know.
That sounds like a BuzzFeed thing.
It's totally BuzzFeed. And by the way, a great story from Amy Graff, the San Francisco Chronicle. She actually investigated these, and she said no one under 25 uses these. She went to
Or knows what they are.
Or knows what they are. She went to Urban Dictionary. He says nobody. This is IWSN. I want sex now. I'm going to use that from now on. I mean, let me just go into hip chat. I'm going into hip chat. IWSN. Let's see if anybody knows in my work group, on my Twit team.
Oh, God.
Okay, how about GNOC? GNOC.
Jeff doesn't
Jeff
want
doesn't want it.
to
Jeff
do
said no. Jeff, how about GNOC? Get naked on camera.
Wait, we're the ones in front of the camera right now.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you should be tapping that.
NIFOC, N-I-F-O-C, naked in front of camera. PIR, parent in room. By the way, there's like 18 different ways to say there's a parent in your room. 9, POS. Anyway,
they're pretty bad.
none of these apparently are real. CNN just kind of made them up. It's clickbait. I don't know where they got it. Apparently, these acronyms come from 10 years old or more, 10 years ago or more.
Urban Dictionary.
Urban Dictionary says, no one uses GNOC except for sexual predators.
Sugar
Oh my
pick
God.
is a hilarious one.
Sugar pick.
A suggestive or erotic photo.
Send me a sugar pic. So Amy says that the bottom line is teenagers misuse technology. Parents should be concerned about drugs, alcohol, and sex. But having open conversations with your kids about these issues and encouraging them to make smart choices is going to be more helpful in raising a teenager than memorizing a silly list of acronyms. I'd have to agree. Although I'm gonna use GNOC more. Let's take a break.
Great idea.
On that note,
Let's just take a break. It's getting a little hot in here.
Yeah.
I might get naked on camera a little later, but first a word from our friends at Stamps.com. The holidays are upon us, and the last thing you want to do is go to the post office right now. Oh, it's amateur time. If you're in the business where you do mailing, and many businesses, your brochures, your invoices, or maybe you sell on eBay or Etsy or Amazon, you do not want to be going to the post office now. You want to stay as far away from post office as you can, but you still need to get those packages out. Stamps.com is amazing. It lets you buy and print postage on demand. Yes, the post office approves this. Actually, the post office loves Stamps.com. You print it out with your computer and printer. You do not need an expensive postage meter. There's no, special ink you need to buy. You can use any printer. You can print stamps. You can. But more importantly, you can print right on an envelope. It'll take the address from QuickBooks or a variety of other sources. It'll automatically add your logo, your return address. You can print for any class of postage, packages. If it's certified mail or international mail, they'll fill out the forms you need. They'll even, if there's notification, they'll send an email out on your behalf to the recipient with a tracking number. And you even get discounts you can't get at the post office on priority mail, priority express mail shipments. You can get discounts on package insurance. It is so easy. It makes your mailing professional. And I want you to try it right now by visiting Stamps.com. At the top of the page on the right, there's an old-fashioned Mikey phone. Click that. Look at that. A special offer for radio and podcast listeners. Use TWIT, T-W-I-T is the offer code. And this is actually a pretty good deal. We're going to give you a $110 bonus offer. Stamps has been great with us doing this. We've got this USB scale, $55 in postage coupons. That you have to use them over the first few months of your account. You get the first month is free, a 4-week trial, and you get a $5 supply kit. It is a great $110 bonus value, and all you have to do is go to Stamps.com right now. Click the microphone and use the offer code TWIT. Do not go to the post office. Go to Stamps.com. It'll make it so much easier. Stamps.com. I want to say goodbye to Dr. Dobbs' journal. You guys are too young to remember Dr.
No, I remember.
Do you? All right, Myriam.
I'm old, remember?
Oh, that's right. You are old. So when I first started playing with microcomputers, that's what we call them in those days, and computer programming, it must be 30 years ago now. There was this little kind of newsletter called Dr. Dobbs' Journal, running light without overbite. It was computer orthodontia, I think is what they called it. It's been around for 38 years. They stopped printing a magazine a little while ago, as most people did, and now, unfortunately, it's sunsetting. That means United Business Media, that owns the Dr. Dobbs label, will not pay for any more new content after the end of the year. However, what's nice is they're going to keep the website up, and all the current content will be accessible. All the links will continue to work. Thank you, UBM, for doing that. I know that costs money. This was did you read it as a kid, Myriam?
Yeah, I used to get the magazine from time to time.
Me too.
When there were some
Loved
great programming articles that I wanted to read. Back when I don't think people know what magazines are today.
No.
They've probably never heard of them. There are these things that are like books, but bigger and soft cover and very thin.
I work
and
at
then
one.
lots of pictures and text in them.
They print copies of Business Week still.
Do they really?
Paper.
Wow.
Periodicals?
Every week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, and you do too. The journal and the reason people
magazines.
buy paper versions of those is because these are like business people,
Yeah.
and there's a different thing going on there.
Yeah, I mean, we're a weekend, a lot of our readership reading happens on the weekend.
Really?
So, people.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we deliver on Friday. They're in stores on Saturday. And, people like to take it to the coffee shop or the park and just lean back and, read a long article.
I think for programming it's different because, first of all, of course, there's lead time, and this was a monthly, and programming moves very fast. But also, really, there's so much stuff on the internet now. If you're a kid growing up, you don't need Dr. Dobbs' Journal. But boy, when we were starting out as youngins, and I was 25, Myriam, but you were younger. It was like you'd pore over this every month. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, for me it was that, and it was Byte magazine.
Byte, loved Byte.
Byte was really hot.
Loved Byte. Hey, speaking of Byte, just an update on Jerry Pournelle. I know many of you know Jerry's been a regular on the show, and we love you, Jerry. He's a science fiction author, one of my heroes, and his column in Byte magazine, Chaos Manor, really inspired everything I've done. He had a small stroke, according to his son, Alex. He had a small stroke earlier this week. He was in the hospital for a few days. I don't know if he's home yet or not, but Alex has been tweeting, and there's a post on his a blog on his health situation. So Jerry, Jerry, you cannot stop Jerry Pornell. He's in his 80s. He had brain cancer when he first started appearing on this show. Complete remission. They say a minor stroke. So Jerry, we're thinking about you. Feel better. Take care. We love you, and we want you to get back to writing the blog and the Chaos Manor Musings. He does that on the web now, which is awesome. So I know you all care a little bit about that, so I thought I'd bring that up as well. Speaking of dying, BlackBerry.
Oh yeah. Let's get into it.
Are you a BlackBerry? Are you about to pull out your BlackBerry?
No. I am so anti-physical keyboard. We were talking about this on the drive down.
They just released a BlackBerry Classic.
No.
Yes.
What are they thinking? Yes. Did you say yes? You said yes, Myriam?
It's hashtag no. I said hashtag nope.
Oh, okay.
Hashtag nope.
It's absolutely wrong.
I remember 2007 when I was still using a BlackBerry Curve. That was the smartphone of choice in those days. Then that young whippersnapper Steve Jobs came out with a iPhone, and I stopped using the BlackBerry entirely. I'm sorry. A Jim Beam ad is not going to get me to watch more of a BlackBerry commercial. You can bring all them. All right. This is it's TechCrunch. So this is a hands-on with. Look at that. That is a BlackBerry Classic. So what happened to the Passport? They had a square one.
Yeah. They still have it.
It's still there.
The higher end one.
That's
this
really
one
recent.
but this one has the optical thumb thing again, which is amazing.
You mean the so it had a
far
trackball. That was the thing that made the BlackBerry was so cool because of the wheel. The click wheel. Remember that?
Ball and then
they did a ball, and now they have that thing where you rub your thumb over it. And is that like a pointer?
You know what I loved about the Ford Model A is it had those solid rubber tiles and those wooden. And it had, you couldn't get a flat. The wheels,
the wooden panels.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so great. No seatbelts. Who needs seatbelts?
Yeah,
it was
felt like
awesome.
you were driving on a coffee table.
God, that's why I love the BlackBerry Classic is because
don't forget,
keyboards.
You could adjust the ignition timing right from the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Wow.
Oh.
Crazy. Let's see. Anything else to talk about? Fitbit planning an IPO in 2015. You were in the wearable space, Myriam. What do you think? Is that a sound investment?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think of Fitbit as particularly innovative and pushing the envelope. And I think of fitness bands as the dumb phones of wearables, Eventually, the smartwatches, you just install an app. Like on Pebble, if you want Jawbone or Misfit, you install an app and then you're done, right?
Right.
Why would you need a separate band that does this when your primary wearable device, your smartwatch, can do it? That's the question I ask. And then for a lot of people, their phones are very good with sensors nowadays at detecting a lot of that stuff. So I maybe see that as a way for them to squeeze through with a bit
before
of
Apple comes out.
Successful bump financially so they can all make money before they get decimated.
Fitbit, you've got 3 months. Get that IPO going. Go talk to Morgan Stanley.
Dumb wearables are like fitness bands to me are like dumb phones. They're the dumb wearables of the wearable world, and we don't need them.
Yeah, this is kind of the BlackBerry of the wearable world.
Well, to play a devil's advocate here, what about those of us who don't wear watches? I've never worn a watch.
You will, Nate.
I've never
worn. You will. Tim Cook says you will.
You think so?
Dr. Dre
I've
says
tried
you will.
Well, if Dr. Dre says so. I've tried all the Android Wear watches, and I've reviewed every single one of these fitness bands out there, and tried out some Pebbles too. But none of them really stay on my wrist that long. The one that I like actually the most so far is the Jawbone Up 24, and that's not a watch. I'm not wearing it right now.
Yeah.
But that's not a watch. I'm not sure if I want to if I buy into the smartwatch idea just yet.
I think consumers might really still think the Fitbit's pretty hot.
Yeah, I mean, it's, what is it, a quarter of the price of what the Apple Watch is going to be?
The battery life is great.
And you can throw it in your pocket. Well, I mean,
but
throw it in the watch.
Guys, the point is, when you can buy a Pebble for $99, it can do so much more.
Why buy
it? Why buy a Fitbit? That's what I don't understand.
This would be the first IPO in the wearable market.
You can install a Jawbone app on the Pebble, and it becomes a Jawbone tracker. Like, in addition to all the other stuff it does, it's not an exclusive thing. It doesn't tie up your watch. More and more of this is going to happen. When there's an Android Wear watch that's $99 and super sleek, you're not going to care that it's, that it's you want a custom dedicated fitness band. I don't think you're going to care.
My Android Wear watch is
I think it's the dying breed. I think that
fancy.
It's going to be available.
Authentic.
Like, you know how you go to 7-Eleven right now? You know how when you go to 7-Eleven, you can get a phone in a blister pack prepaid, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Jawbones, the fitness bands are going to continue to exist for $5-10 in blister packs at 7-Eleven. But I don't think they're going to stay. I think much more sophisticated sensing bands are going to come out that's fitness optimized, like what Microsoft tried to do with the band, but it failed. Eventually, we're going to get some really, really high-end and not very expensive bands that are much beyond just an accelerometer sensing some stuff, right? And if you look at what Jawbone and Fitbit are doing, they're adding more and more functionality to their bands to the point now where they have displays, they have heart rate monitors. So you're turning them into a smartwatch. So they're doing exactly what I'm saying is going to happen.
Well, to back up what Myriam is saying, there was a Gartner study that came out recently that said that basically wearable sales are going to nosedive, and that 50% of people are going to consider buying a smartwatch over just a fitness tracker on their band.
But what about people like Jeff in the chat room who says, I wear a real watch. He has a very nice Cartier tank watch.
Very cool.
And I wear my Fitbit because I like watches. There are people who like watches, and he wears his, so he gets some of the benefit of a smartwatch on his belt. What about that?
I don't like wearing watches, but I have a Fitbit in my pocket.
See? So maybe there is a market. Maybe there's a bifurcation in the market. By the way, how do you pronounce that, German people? Is it Tag here, or Verst?
Hoyer.
First. So I think this is a problem for Google. In fact, some watchmakers say we're going to sue. I don't know if it's Google's fault, but the Android Wear watches, there's a brisk market now in Rolex, Tag Heuer. Heuer, really? Wake up. Look at that. I can get, see, this is when Apple's going to have a problem, because I think this is the greatest thing about Android watches is they can look like anything, right? Even in copyright violation.
But,
no one would mistake this for a Tag. I mean, it's just, it's cool that you can have that Rolex Oyster watch logo on there.
Yeah, I guess I would ask how many people want to wear a fake Rolex Android watch on their wrist.
Me. And the other thing is I can change it. Like, okay, tomorrow I think I'll be, I don't know, maybe I'll be a Cartier. I don't know. You can have anything you want.
To answer the person in the audience that has a very fancy watch and also a second band on their wrist, I think that's also going to go away because look at the company, look at what Withings did with their watch. It's an analog movement. It has all the sensors in it, has great battery life. There's nothing that stops Tag Heuer, Rolex. And in fact, there's rumors that Tag Heuer is going to announce something at CES.
That's right.
I think it's going to be inevitable that these watch manufacturers in Switzerland eventually going to incorporate these sensors, even if they don't put an actual display on their watch, and continue to have a purely mechanical watch. It's going to be inevitable. People are going to expect it. It's going to be so cheap to do that it might even come as a band. It's a band you put on, and the band has the electronics. It's completely unrelated to the watch, and it's luxurious. It's made of gold, whatever. I don't think people want to wear two bands. I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know if people want to wear one band. I think a lot of people are like you, Nate. Nothing. You like to go bare.
I'm free.
Commando wrist. Free at last. Myriam, great to have you on. Do you want to plug anything? She froze. She froze.
Sure.
Just give me a look.
Okay, there we go.
Now you're back. Okay, you may speak.
Okay.
You may speak.
So I'm Tank Girl on the internet. TNKGRL on my Twitter handle. You see down here. I don't know, somewhere.
Yep.
Tanko Mobile is my blog, and go check out this little project that I started with a bunch of people like Robert Scoble and Yobi Benjamin and Julian. It's called crowdedrocket.com. It's there's some projects on there that are pretty cool. If you are looking to fund something that you might be able to get in a year for the holidays next year, check it out. And keep an eye out for me at CS. I will be with the Mobile Nations guys, the people who do Android Central, iMore, Windows Phone Central, and Connectedly. I will be helping them out with all of their CS stuff. So I'm returning to the media for a bit of a freelance gig, and I'm around. Follow me on Twitter and all that. And I've got a bunch of cool phone videos coming up on my blog, Tanker on Mobile, because I've gotten a bunch of phones the last 2 months that I still need to review. And I've been using them extensively. So I know a lot of my readership likes that. So check it out.
You're looking forward to CES?
Yeah, I love CES. I love the rush of it. I know it's kind of insane, but I would miss it if I wasn't going.
You seem like the prototypical CES. Like, I feel like Tank Girl and CES go together.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's the only time of year, really, frankly, that I see all the journalists from all over the world. Like the ones I talk on Twitter to and Facebook and G+ every day. That, I mean, Nate, I see you pretty regularly because you're in SF.
Yep.
And I see a bunch of them at different conferences like Mobile World Congress and stuff, but I don't see them all together in one place.
Right.
And even though we don't really have time to chat, it's nice to see them.
Are you going, Nate?
I am not going, actually. I'm going to be... I know. I'm sorry. Myriam, I'll let you down.
Stay home, Myriam.
I apologize. I'm going to be doing some editing and writing and kind of mission control stuff from San Francisco. Okay. But we're going to have a team there. We're going to have a stage. And
oh, really?
Yeah. We're going to have a stage like right when you come in the main hall in the entrance. We have a stage set up, and some of our columnists, Jeff Fowler and Joanna Stern, are going to be doing some on-stage interviews.
Awesome.
We have some actual companies. Well, I can't really say, but there'll be some cool stuff. Maybe some kind of news breaking on those stages as well. So
neat. So that's right in the North Hall there as you go in there? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be neat.
Wow. That's fun. And we can follow you on Instagram, we know. OG, Nate OG.
And that's my Twitter handle's the same. So.
Nate OG, Nathan Olivarez-Giles. Giles or Giles?
Giles.
Giles.
Yeah. Or original gangster, as some people like to say.
I like it.
I
feel like that's good.
Yeah. Journalism and that go hand in hand, really. So,
Nate Dogg. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, Mark Milian, we always welcome him from Bloomberg Business Week, and you're covering the global beat. Will you go to CES?
I will not be at CES.
Look at that. Myriam, you're the only one going.
Similar to Nate, I'll be editing and writing from San Francisco.
We'll cover it. We've got Robert Ballasare will be down there. Dick DiBartolo will be down there. We've got a camera crew. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guy, does all the TV booths. I'm kind of glad not to go. We spent a lot of money, did the stage and did the whole thing, and I feel like I can see it from here. I'm like Sarah Palin. I can see CES from here.
But after CES, we're launching a new internet thing.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
BloombergBusiness.com.
BloombergBusiness.com. That's you don't have BloombergBusiness.com already?
No, we have Bloomberg.com and we have BusinessWeek.com.
And at business on Twitter, which...
We got at business on Twitter. That's our new default.
Did you have to hit somebody over the head to get that?
Right.
How did you get that?
Some hard work.
So what will BloombergBusiness.com be?
It'll be our new flagship.
So you're going to merge Bloomberg and .com and BusinessWeek.com, and it'll be those two together. That's
exactly,
great.
Yeah.
How exciting!
And we hired Joshua Topolsky from The Verge.
Oh, that's right.
This project.
This is Joshua's thing.
This
is our thing.
This is Joshua's thing. Got it. I was wondering because he was doing digital, right?
Oh yeah.
This is it. Awesome. Look forward to that.
It's very blue so far.
It's blue.
It's blue. Happy blue.
It's a happy blue. Is that the color? Is that happy blue?
Yeah, I think that's on the palette. Happy blue.
Happy blue.
There's a crayon also.
Hey, we had a good week on Twitter. We like to take kind of the best of everything that happened this past week and mush it into a minute. And we thought we'd play that for you right now. This is what you missed this week.
On Twit.
Fresh. Like a boss.
Merry Christmas. Ho. Wow.
Security Now.
What Sony's saying is stop publishing our private emails. Those are private. I don't think they should be published.
I'm not sure that the message would have gotten through to the degree it has.
You have to embarrass people for others to take security seriously?
This Week in Google.
Google News fame right now is dead.
As of 8:30 Eastern last night, less than 12 hours later, Spanish publishers have gone to the government asking for help.
Be careful what you wish for, amigos.
all about Android.
Here people are selling these really expensive, serious devices, and it's a freaking piece of cardboard. They say, what the hell is this? But then you do it, and it's like, whoa.
Oh, it's a download progress
status bar.
That is cool.
Twit. It's like Tech TV without the overpriced cable bill.
You know, it'd be even better than that. Interpretive dance. Based on what's in the chat room.
Read the chat room and I'll dance.
If I visit the West Coast sometimes, I'll definitely schedule a visit. It's brilliant.
I think I'm quite good at this. I think you should not laugh at my interpretive dance.
I want to see you dance the story that Marissa Meyer read to her.
I could do that.
That's what I want to see.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I could.
Bobby got a nickel.
Bobby had a nickel.
You got a new show there.
Interpretive dance?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are going to take the week off. You know, Christmas is Wednesday. Hanukkah ends Tuesday night or Wednesday night. Christmas is Thursday. Hanukkah ends Wednesday night. And what we do on the Christmas week, starting tomorrow, going all the way through next Sunday and the next Twit, is specials. Most of our shows will be doing best ofs. Those are really fun. Just to look back at the best moments from the year, the biggest stories. So most of our shows will be doing that. Some of our shows, like Tech News Today, will be doing some, I think, very provocative and interesting specials about specific topics in the news. So keep watching. All new content coming up for you throughout the week. But we will not be here live. Don't forget that New Year's Day, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we're broadcasting a very special 24-hour marathon. We did it last year. It was so much fun, we decided to do it again, starting 3 in the morning Pacific time on New Year's Eve. So 3 a.m. Pacific is 1100 UTC, New Year's Eve, December 31st, and going all the way through 3 a.m. Pacific time, New Year's Day, 1100 UTC, on January 1st, 2015. We call it 24 Hours of 2015. We have, actually, I have a list. We have almost every time zone covered. There are a few more. Where did I put that list? A few more time zones that we'd like to get. Here they are. That we'd like to get people from, so that we can. I want to do everybody. I want to say Happy New Year to New Zealand. Begin the show and end the show with Happy New Year in Samoa. But we're missing 4, including Samoa, or Midway Islands, or Jarvis Island. That's all the same area. That's UTC -11. UTC -2. Trinidad, South Georgia, and Sandwich Islands. You can see why we're missing people in these. These are the far corners of the world. But I think we're going to do it. The Azores, or Cape Verde, that's -1. And +6 UTC, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Kyrgyzstan. You're global. How do you pronounce that? Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan, right?
Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, the stands. Actually, we have Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Pakistan. Zishan is going to join us from Pakistan. So we've got some really amazing stuff.
Do you want me to fly to Kazakhstan?
Would you?
This
is part of your portfolio. And now look who we have online from Kazakhstan. It's Mark Milian. Yay. Wow. Who would have thought? It's going to be a lot of fun. It was so much fun last year. Many of our hosts will be coming in. None of them will do things that they're known for. We've got musical acts. We've got weird stuff. They have literally not told me most of the stuff because they're afraid I'll say no. I think that sounds like there'll be explosions and open flame, but I'm not sure. We are taking over the street. We have am I going to end up riding the mechanical bull? Oh, God. Can I do that later in the show? I don't know if I'll survive.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we're doing it for a good cause. We're going to raise money for UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund. And I'm hoping to get a lot of money because I feel like it's one thing for us to do this, and we're doing it because we're a global operation. We want to really celebrate that, and it's New Year's for 24 hours all over the world. But I think also a good way to raise a little bit of money. So we'd like to do this every year from now on. But this is our second annual New Year's Eve party, and you're all invited for the 24 hours of 2015. If you'd like to be here, the space is limited because we have a lot of people who do want to be here. So email tickets at twit.tv if you want to be here in person. But you can watch. All of you can watch, and I hope you'll tune in at some point in that 24-hour period and join us. It is going to be a lot of fun. You don't have to give up your New Year's Eve. You can come early and be with it. So that's coming up a week from Wednesday. Make sure you put that in your calendar. I really want to thank our guest, Mark Milian. Great to have you. Nate, so nice to see you. Myriam, you're the best. Thanks to all of you for joining us. We do Twit every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2300 UTC. If you can watch live, do. If not, on-demand audio and video is available on twit.tv, of course, on iTunes and wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget Stitcher. We're on TuneIn, Internet Radio, where you have the great Twit apps created by third-party developers on every platform, including Roku, by the way. So there's going to be a way that you can watch, and I hope you will watch each and every week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our great live audience. We'll see you next time. Another Twit is in the can. Happy holidays, everybody. Bye-bye. Happy